Hello class, this is a video tutorial on linear modeling. Real-world scenarios can be modeled as a linear relationship of the form y equals mx plus c by calculating the gradient and y-intercept of the scenario. We can calculate the equation, then predict future values. So let's get straight into some examples here. So determine the linear relationship between the number of songs in a collection to the number of months. So just so we can get an understanding here, along the y-axis, so the vertical axis is going to be the y, and along the x-axis is going to be the, x. And just so that we know, we're going to look for an equation that looks something like this. But now, take a look. What is along our y-axis? Rather than it being y, it's the value s, meaning the number of songs in the collection. So it's going to be S is equal to M, we don't know yet, so I'm going to leave that just blank, the underline. X along the x-axis, well, that's going to be little m. Plus C, we don't know what the value of C is, so I'm going to leave that blank as well. So now we need to calculate the value of, which is confusing, this other m. You know what, I'll change this to capital M for months. That's capital M for months. And now we're going to calculate little m for the gradient. Well, let's consider this. To calculate the gradient, we just need to pick any 2 points that we definitely know the values of. So I can see one here. Here we have 20 months, 400 songs. Okay, so that's 20 months, 400 songs. Well, if you take a look at 0 months, we already had 100 songs. It's going to be 0, 100. So we can calculate the gradients as little m is equal to, well, that's going to be the rise over the run. So now between these 2 points, do this in orange, between here and here, how much has it risen by? So what is this rise here? Well, from 100 to 400, that is a rise of, that is a rise of 300, because it started at 100 and went as high as 400. That's 300 more. And now the run, let's do this in purple. This run here, it has gone from 0 on the x-axis along to 20. Well, from 0 to 20, that is a run of 20. So over 20. Evaluating this, 300 over 20, you can cancel the 0, that's just 30 over 2, which is 15. So our gradient for this is 15. So for our m, this unknown m value, we've calculated to be 15. Now as for the initial value, the y-intercept, we can see where this line, let me clear this up a little bit, we can see where our graph is intersecting the y-axis. It's at 100. Well, it's very clear to see then that our y-intercept, is going to be 100. So that there is our linear relationship. How many songs will this collection have after 36 months? If we do a very quick question summary here, it says how many songs? Well, that is the pronumeral of S. So songs, we don't know, because it's asking us how many songs. Will this collection have after 36 months? Well, we're being told the value of the other pronumeral, m is going to be equal to 36. Well, now it's just a matter of substituting these values into the linear relationship we've just calculated. Well, s we don't know, so I'm going to leave that as s is equal to 15 times, well, months we're being told is 36 plus 100. Whatever this is in our calculator. Whoops. Let's do it. 15 times 36 plus 100. That'll give us 640 songs. Let's do one more question like this. How many months will it take to have 550 songs? Well, it says how many months, meaning m, we don't know, will it take to have 550 songs? Well, we're being told under a different value. This times s is equal to 550. Substituting these values into our equation that we've the formula, the linear relationship that we've calculated. So it's going to be s is equal to 550 is equal to 15m plus 100. Now, if you take a look, this is just an equation that we need to solve. So let's subtract by 100 on both sides. This will give us 450 equals 15m. Dividing both sides, by 15. This will give us m is equal to, so 450 divided by 15. M is equal to 30 months. So I hope that first example gave you an insight into finding the linear relationship, and then using this linear relationship to answer future values and questions and problem solve values that we don't yet know. Okay, so let's get straight into a second example here. This time we're not given a graph, we're just given a table of values. Write an equation relating to the weekly income and the number of weeks. Well, when it asks for an equation relating a independent variable and a dependent variable, much like we had here, our independent variable along the x and our dependent variable along the y. Okay, because we have this, we know that our relationship is going to eventually look like y equals mx plus c. And now, a little quick trick I can show you here. Our table of values is usually shown as xy, like so. Now, it's very clear to see that this is going to be our x, and this is going to be our y. So our y value is no longer y, it's going to be I for income, weekly income, is equal to m. We don't know what that is yet, so I'm going to leave that blank. Our x values are going to be w plus c. We don't know what that is. Once again, I'm going to leave that blank. So let's take a look. To find the gradient from a table of values, we can still see the rise over run. Take note that this is our y values. So y is rise, and these are the x value, the run. Okay, so we're going to pick any 2 points, preferably one right next to each other. So let's take a look at the rise first. So m is equal to the rise over the run. So our y values are here, these ones here. Let's take a look from one point to another. What is the rise there? From 600 to 650. Well, that's gone up by 50 over the run. Now in that same time, how much has it run by? Well, we went from 4 to 5. That is a run of 1. So our gradient is merely 50. Okay, so we're nearly there. Now to find this last value here, what we can do actually is a neat little trick here. If we substitute 4 into W for weeks, we should be getting 600. So let's write that in. So 600 into I is equal to, equal to 50 W. So 50 times 4 plus something. Well, we can evaluate this. It's going to be 600 equals 50 times 4. That's 200 plus something. And it's very clear to see that that something is going to be 400. So the missing value we were looking for is 400. So in the end, our linear relationship, I'll write it here in black, is going to be I is equal to 50W plus 400. Now using this equation, we can solve future questions. What would the weekly income be after 2 weeks? So it's saying income, what would the weekly income be? So they don't know what the income is, but they're giving us W is equal to 2. Substituting this into this equation, we get I, which we don't know, 50 times 2 plus 400. This is 100 plus 400, giving us $500 a week. How many weeks would it take to have an income of $1,000? Well, as you can see from the previous question, this time it's saying how many weeks would it take, meaning it's asking a question about the weeks that we don't know, and we're being told what the income is. So income is equal to 1,000. Substituting this into our equation up here in black. So we're being told the income is 1,000 is equal to 50 W. We don't know what W is, so let's leave it at W, plus 400. And then this just comes back down to an equation. So subtracting 400 from each side, we get 600 equals 50 W. Dividing everything by 50, we get W is equal to, it's going to be 600 divided by 50. It's going to be 12 weeks. Oops, I'll get rid of this. So I hope that gave you an insight into solving equations, calculating linear models, and using that linear model to solve future equations. Hope to see you in the next video. Best of luck.